All right, everyone. Hi, thanks for joining. I'm here with Jason Zotara, the king of ads here in Denver, Colorado. He is the founder and CEO of 1026 Media. Thanks for being here, Jason.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about you, what you do here in Denver.
Yeah, of course. So we are a digital ad agency. They call King. It's kind of it's a lot to live up to, but thank you for that comment, compliment. So yeah, we're a digital ad agency, and we focus primarily on paid media, on Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn, really any ad platform that you can advertise on. Any platform you can advertise on, we can help you, help our clients on. So we also do secondary services like SEO, social media marketing, email marketing to support the paid media, but primarily paid media agency.
Great. How long have you been doing this?
Since 2012. So that's when I started the agency. Okay. I started out in digital marketing. I won't age myself. It's been a while. Let's just put it that way. Like right when Google ads started becoming a bigger play.
So what did you do before this? What got you into digital marketing?
So my father was in radio, so I grew up in traditional advertising, marketing, and transitioned into the digital world when it became more of the digital side. So that's what got me into it. Primarily, I really like the aspect of being creative, but also using data and analytics. So kind of that blend of two is what really gets me going on a day-to-day basis.
Great.
Yeah.
So what are the type of clients that you work with?
Primarily e-commerce, travel, hospitality. We've done higher education, small businesses when they have the budget, which can they're out there. Startups who maybe just got a series funding, companies like that. But we usually live in that medium and large size businesses. We've worked with Fortune 500, as I shared, some of the small mom and pop shops. But we try to, usually it's that company that has one or two marketing people, a leader, and they're looking for additional resources for their paid media, or looking for a specialist on the paid media side. So maybe have like a director of SEO or an email marketing manager, somebody like that, but they don't have the paid media expertise. That's where we come in and kind of bridge that gap, fill that gap in there.
Okay, so is there a revenue size that you typically work with, or range?
Usually 5 million plus.
5 million plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Minimum.
Okay.
We'll make some exceptions, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what made you pick those industries? Is it the type of people that need them the most, or do you love travel and e-commerce?
So there's a few factors. When it comes to industry specific, the industries, it's really who we want to work with and what's fun. Is when it comes to the industry. So travel, e-commerce lends itself to PPC because of the instant gratification of the be able to track revenue. So when you work with a B2B company, sometimes it's like, what's a lead worth? And like, I don't know. Like, I've never done those calculations. You'll get those. Where with e-commerce or direct to consumer, like you can put, you spend X amount of dollars in advertising and you drove X amount of dollars in revenue, and you have those calculations there. So when it comes to industries, that's how those are generally. Okay, who do we want to work with? When it comes to company size, it's generally more of when it comes to budgets. And also, we just found a lot of the companies, so I have a nonprofit background, a lot of companies that we work with in the past and currently, they do a little bit more than just make money, which is, everyone wants to make money, it's great. But like, for example, we have a volunteer vacation company. We've done work with a large Scripps Research, which does medical health research, like for cancer and other diseases, things like that. We also had higher education, so like schools. There's another one I'm missing out on when it comes to the Webster Apartments is a women's only housing in Manhattan. It was created back in the 20s. William H. Macy's cousin. Great story there. Wow. So it's a place for young women professionals to, that they can live in the city, but with being safe, being part of a community. So working with those type of companies where it's kind of purpose driven, not necessarily nonprofit, but for profit, but they're doing something a little bit different and making the world a better place. Like those naturally we've been working with more and more in the past, and also looking in the future of who our ideal clients.
Okay, great. So I heard when you were speaking there, you were mentioning PPC, SEO, ads. For the people that don't know what all that means, what does PPC mean? What does SEO mean? Why is it necessary to do?
Of course. So PPC stands for pay-per-click. It is a word that Google Ads, or Google AdWords used to be called, kind of monopolized in that sense. So anytime you hear PPC, mostly in the industry, it's funny. It's a funny story about that, and I'll try to keep it short. I have a tendency of doing tangents. Is when I was at a conference doing another talk, actually, SearchCon last year, I was talking to a fellow agency, and they kept talking PPC, and I was talking more social. Like, I think of PPC as being any pay-per-click. So whether it's social, display, video, or search, to me, that's all PPC. But to other agencies and other businesses, they just think PPC is Google AdWords or search. So there's a little bit of that, and we've played around with that, even internal branding, and as we're doing our PPC ads and our keywords and what people engage with, it's amazing that people still tend to lean towards PPC as being only Google ads. When in reality, it's any pay-per-click platform. So Facebook ads, for example, Pinterest ads, Amazon, like that's all to us, and how we communicate is PPC. So, and that's different than, yes, how it's different from SEO and email. So we always believe, mostly myself, that you have to have an integrated approach. So you don't want to just do paid media. You don't want to just do SEO. So if you can do a little bit of everything, great. If you don't have the budget, generally people want to start with paid media because it's more of an instant gratification. So you're able to, as I mentioned earlier, to put in specific dollar amounts and see return typically faster than, say, an SEO play or strategy where that's more long-term. You're looking probably 6 to 8 months where you're doing content and hoping for Google to pick it up, but you're also competing with other companies. And so there's a lot more than that, that I'm trying to keep it short again. And then email, obviously, from a highest, it's probably, I think it's still the highest converting medium. So like you want to have email to support paid search and social and all the different aspects. So,
and by that you mean email campaigns?
Email campaigns, yep.
Okay.
So people still love to, like, they'll search. So we find with our clients is using paid media to get the clients to your site, then using social media and display advertising, because Facebook's still a display, technically. I don't know if you don't know that, it's just a display network. And so using Google to get the traffic to the site, using Facebook to remarket them, and then once you get them as a lead, or you get your contact information, using a good drip email campaign, whether it's from a B2B side, usually a drip campaign, or, for example, e-commerce, you have a shopping cart banner. We've all been there, we're shopping, and we go and like, we got to go take care of something, and we're like, we get an email saying, hey, you left your cart open, here's a 10%. So, if you're smart, you can kind of manipulate the system to get discounts that way. Not saying I do. But so that's another way, like, where email can be powerful in addition to. So it's more of that engagement converting mechanism than it is a brand awareness, traffic driver.
Okay, yeah, and you'll help handle all of that.
Yeah, we can do it all.
Right.
Any digital we do. Now we look at our website, you'll see we're primarily paid media, which I'm actually thinking about changing, another conversation. But we do have all those. Yeah, all those social media advertising, social media management. Email, the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we just don't do websites. Yeah, we have resources for that. But if you're looking for like design from a website development perspective, we have resources for that.
Okay. So there are a ton of social marketing agencies out there, ad agencies. What makes you different? Why would someone hire you over the other thousands?
And the only reason I laugh is because we used to have one right next door at our old office at the WeWork. We used to work at together. So it's like that's how the industry is. They're everywhere. So I think for us is it's value based. When I say that, not from an old sales cliche, and I know you know that, value based sales. It's more of it's really that personal one-on-one approach that we different. So I like to say we used to call ourselves boutique, but that's been overplayed like everything else. I'm just kind of got to go with it. But it's really that more one-on-one personalized experience. Like we don't work with everybody under the sun. Like we're very selective who we work with. And so every company gets my cell phone number so they can contact me 24/7 if they have any issues. So it's that personal one-on-one approach. And we treat their money when we take, for example, ad spend, like we treat that money like it's ours. And so it's like everything that we're doing is personal to us, even though it's business. It's like every dollar that we're spending for them on behalf of our clients is really like ours. So it really allows us to be his personal interest in everything that we do and make sure that we're constantly getting better, improving. If we have a great month, it's okay, how can we get better? That kind of stuff. So I would say definitely, one-on-one approach. I have 20 plus years of experience in digital and in marketing as a whole. And so having someone like myself leading the strategy also helps, as well as our other team members. But having me as a core and my background and experience is also a factor that you can't get anywhere else. And so I think a combination of those, like we're very creative, we hustle all day, every day, pretty much it seems like. So those are probably like the 2 or 3 main areas of why someone would come to us versus somebody over here or over here down the street. So.
And you work all over the country, right? Not
Absolutely.
Just Denver.
Correct. Yeah, we're based here.
Yeah.
We left Colorado, but so we have Jersey, San Diego. We have some clients here as well, but really across the states. So New York, Florida, Michigan, Toronto. So technically
international.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. No, it's great. It's great to say that. Just North American. North America, but no, it's great. So yeah, with digital, you can do it from anywhere. But we encourage local relationships because we go to their office and we can share the reporting that we do it once a month with them in person, but with video and all the different advancements, like we can work from pretty much anywhere. Clients can do it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about your goals for the future. Are you trying to grow? Do you like where you're at now? What's the plan?
Yeah, so I think right now we're in a good place from a foundational perspective where we have a good set of clients, we have great processes, like we're able to really be efficient with everything that we're doing. And so we're absolutely looking to grow, like looking to add more people on, we're looking to add more clients on both sides. So employees as well as new clients, always looking for new clients. Well, we say no sometimes, but most of the time we're always looking for new clients. But yeah, so definitely trying to grow. Grow the right way though, with the right clients. So that's the biggest thing, right? Understanding and determining who we want to work with, I think we've established, and then just getting out there and finding those people, and then being in the competitive space, just fighting for every deal that comes around. But yeah, absolutely, definitely looking to grow. But again, we don't want to be too big to where we lose that personal one-on-one
right.
That personal touch. So that's very important to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So do you have a customer story that you could tell us about? A success story?
Oh, yeah, I have a lot of them. I won't go down the rabbit hole there. So I think there's a few different ones. One good one for companies out there, there's actually just 2, and I want to share 2 because, so if you're a small business and you're watching this and you're like, hey, I don't know, maybe you do a print media, and you're like, hey, I want to get into digital, like, I don't know if it really makes sense, type of questions that you might be asking yourself. So one of the success stories is a company, is a contractor in New Jersey. He has kitchen, basically home remodeling, so kitchen and baths, does great work, and he also has a painting division from there. And so we first started working with him. He was doing mostly print, and we got him to do some Google ads where it started. And then that first year, we took them off of print and completely to digital, and they increased their revenue 2 times that year. So like, wow, a success story. Like he took it, he was like, wow, this is insane. Even last year, I mean, I just got an email from him the other day where he's like, hey, keep up the great work. We were like backlog, like we need to move some of this work over to the painting division because we have so much kitchen. And they got like a lot more in the first, I don't want to say numbers, but they got a lot more even just in the first few months. And so they're like, just continue to monitor it and keep doing a good job. So like, that's the kind of stuff that's
great.
Right. So the premise is we took them from print media, which you still want to do some print if you're out there. It's still good from a local company perspective. But we took them to all digital. And so we do SEO and PPC for him and them, but he's the owner there. Ray, and increase their revenue year over year. So that's an example of that. That's a great story. The other example I like to share is our volunteer vacation client I mentioned earlier. We were doing Facebook for them, Facebook ads, killing it. And we kept coming to them and say, hey, what are you doing for Google? I can see you doing Google ads. Unfortunately, they got tied into a contract. We don't do And we do
Another
90,
benefit there.
we do 90 days. Yeah, so another one. 90 days and then month to month. We like to earn our keep every 30 days.
Yeah.
And so we kept like, hey, let us look at your Google Ads. And they were in a contract, and eventually they got out of it. And so we looked at their Google Ads account, and I'll tell you what, like it was not, there were definitely some things that could be improved on, to be diplomatic. And so we went in and we did an audit of their Google Ads, and we found by updating the account more frequently, cutting off things like negative keywording, updating bids, fresh ad copy, the stuff that you want to do when you take over a new account, typically in the Google ad space. We did that, and we were able to save them almost $100,000 in 6 months. Wow. By eliminating wasted ad spend. So that's an example, and the reason I wanted to share that is if you are with an agency, so your company out there, you're with an agency, and you're like, hey, I don't know what they're doing. Like, I think they're doing something, but they're not. Like, and you want us to take a look at it, like we could absolutely do that and say, hey, here's the 5 or 6 areas that you can improve on, whether that's the bidding's wrong, they're going on partner sites, little kind of foundational pieces that some of the some of the newer agencies out there, maybe don't have that education of some of the older seasoned, that older people, mature people have. So that's another great example of, if you're a company that's already doing it and maybe just looking to get better at it and improve their efficiency and their return on ad spend, that's another great story to share. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
I'm curious, what industry was that?
That's a travel.
Travel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a volunteer vacation company.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're on our website with their names there. So it's not like it's a big secret. But so it's definitely, if you're looking for other examples, like we go to our site. We have a few different success stories there. Case studies is kind of boring, so we have success stories instead. Sounds better to me.
So how does somebody know that it's time to hire a agency? Like maybe they're doing it on their own now, but they don't really know, like, is it time? What are the questions or comments that they're saying in their head that might be good indicators to hire someone like you?
Yes. So I would say, one, if you don't have that specialty in your team, right? So if you're a small business and you're looking for ways to grow your business, we can obviously help you there. If you're wondering, do I hire a freelancer or an agency, that's a whole other conversation, which we get into another episode. But I would say usually it's budget. So if you have the budget and you're looking to grow a brand or a business, so mostly so we're talking like direct to consumer, right? If you have a product that you're really trying to sell online, like call us, right? Like we can help you with that. Absolutely. When it comes to say like a B2B perspective, in either way, I guess either industries, if you have maybe a team of people, we don't have an expert on PPC, right? So you might have a small team or like a director of marketing and they're doing 17 different things. It's like, we need someone to like help out. So there's that too. There's also, and I launched this about a week ago, so it's still kind of newer. So we're also doing consulting for more brands, more and more. So I'm getting more and more requests of, hey, we're working on a project. Can you just come in and give us, a few hours of your time and say, this is, for example, a website launch, right? So if they're launching a website and they want to make sure all the 301 redirects, and from an SEO, you don't lose that brand value. So we'll do one more consulting. So there's always that too. So if you're a company out there, like, I don't want to get into a long-term contract, or like, I just need like a one-off project and want consulting. So there's also that avenue, which again, I won't get too into it today, but there's also that. So I would say, going back to recapping, if you're a company that's looking to grow, looking to either grow fresh, or also looking to be more efficient with your ad spend or with the money that you're spending now on marketing and advertising, then call us and we can. So that would be a few different examples. There's a lot of different ones, but I'm trying to keep it streamlined for this conversation. So you got to keep me aligned. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah, it does. Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned B2C and B2B. You do both?
Yes.
You help with both?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Paid media lends itself more to B2C, direct to consumer. So business to consumer or direct to consumer. Because of, as we were sharing, like you usually have a bigger marketplace. You're usually going to the masses. You have a bigger audience.
Depends who your client is.
Yeah.
The client of the client.
right. The customer of the client, right?
Yeah.
Versus where if you're a B2B, I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of times you're usually your niche, right? You're usually selling, whether it's mining equipment or you are a a healthcare app, right? Like usually, or you're maybe somebody who's doing like nurse recruiting, right? We've had that before. We can still do it and be successful in it. It's just a different approach because you're working with a smaller pool of people. And so that's why it's like, you have to have a good strategy for that, which is not the same as
different platforms needed.
Different platforms, but also different messaging,
right?
Different strategy. Yeah. So for example, B2B lends itself more to email marketing and post engagement versus like B2C. Like, okay, I go to your site, I see it has good reviews, it's priced right, like I get free shipping, I'm gonna buy it. Right. B2B, it's like usually bigger ticket items. So it's like, oh, who have you worked with? Like, let me see a presentation, a demo, right? So that kind of, it's a longer sales cycle, exactly. Where B2C is like, okay, or direct consumer is like, okay, I'm gonna buy your product. So it's important to know to have different strategies for both. Otherwise, you're not gonna be successful. So that is important.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do people find you if they want to know more about what you do, you as a person? How do they find you?
I try to be hidden. No, I grew a middle child, and then my older brother was always a quarterback growing up, and so I always was in that kind of that secondary. I like to play running back and receiver anyways, but I was kind of in that like a kind of the vice president role growing up, and so for me it's different. That's why I like doing things like this is great because I don't get out there as much as I should. I'm more behind the scenes type of guy. Like, let me get my hands dirty and get the work done. And
that's why you're in ads.
Right.
Makes sense,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I don't need to see my face everywhere. But I understand as an agency owner, as a business owner, like that's something that's very, very important to get myself out there. So to answer your question more directly, you can find me on any social channel. LinkedIn is usually a good network to connect with me on. 1026media.com. It's TEN26media.com. By the way, if anybody was curious while they're listening, that's my wife's birthday. So that's where the name comes from.
Oh, awesome.
So there's a lot of numbers in the agency world. So yeah, and then you can find the number on the site, or email me directly from the site. That's probably usually the best, or Instagram and Facebook as well. But any one of those options.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the most important question I have for you is about your dog that you invite all the time to your office.
Yes, he is. Where is he?
He's sleeping over there.
Okay. Yeah. I love that guy.
Now, yes, you guys are gonna have to come in and meet Milo. He's the cutest little dog ever.
Yes, Milo is our world. So we don't have kids, so he is our kid, and he's 11 going on 3. He'll be 11 next month. And yeah, no, it's definitely the one thing with him around, like he had some surgery last year, which was a little sketchy in August. So like now it's nice to have him like fully healed and focus back on work. It definitely did. There was a rough time there with him, but everything's good now. So yeah, I love me. I'll bring him to the office. He's not on camera, but you can find him on Instagram more than I am. It's Corgi Nova, like Casanova. So if you want to check his pictures out, some of his office excursions.
We'll put it below in the comments.
Yeah. At Corgi Nova. But yeah.
That's great. So any last tips that you want to give the audience about anything ad related? Before I go, there's a few little fun questions I want to ask you before, but related to ads. Is there any last minute tips?
I would say just be, when it comes to, I'm trying to figure out if it's okay, if you're looking for an ad agency, what to look for, or like just ads, just watch where you're spending your money and where your dollar is going. Or hire somebody that's going to do that for you. How's that?
Yes,
That's
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you choose. It's like choose your adventure. It's a whole other conversation. But we were in a bookstore this weekend and we saw those choose your own adventure books.
Yeah.
Which were really cool growing up. But
yeah.
Anyhow, yeah.
So I always like to end these interviews with some fast action questions because, as you know, people buy from people, not from businesses. So we know a little bit about you already, but let's learn some fun facts about you. So are you a coffee or tea person in the morning or something else?
Coffee.
What kind of coffee?
Straight
black.
Yeah. I didn't do that back in the day, but my wife got me into that. So now, small thing, I do intermittent fasting, so I don't eat till noon. And so, but I can have coffee, tea, or water. And so like I have to have my coffee. So yeah, 2 cups in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon around 3. What time is it? It's around 3. No, it's close to 3. And so, yeah, but coffee to answer your question more directly.
What's your go-to adult beverage?
if I could turn the camera, let's put it over here. There's a sign that says "Like whiskey, come say hi." Whiskey is bourbon. Whiskey is one of my favorites. Blanton's is actually one of my favorites. 1792 is another good one. That one over there is Lock and Co. That's a rye. But yeah, so whiskey is my go-to drink.
I'll grab it.
Yes. Should grab the sign too. The sign is even funnier. We should put the sign behind me. So here it is. We'll put this here.
Whiskey lover over here.
Yes.
So is there a good whiskey like restaurant or bar that you go to in Denver or anywhere surrounding areas?
There is. I usually drink at home by myself. No, I'm totally kidding. That was a joke. No, there's. I'm trying to remember a few because I've been to a few places. Whiskey Fox Chain.
Whiskey Foxtrot.
Yes.
Yes.
That's one of them. There's some in Cherry Creek too. That are nice, but there's what I like is speakeasies too. Like that's really cool. Like going kind of behind under making sure it's not blocking underneath the kind of secretive, and I always try to try like different whiskeys and bourbon. But there's probably a few other places I'm leaving out, but they can pay me for doing the shots out first.
So what's your favorite cuisine?
Food wise,
yeah.
Oh man, that's so tough. So growing up, I used to love chicken parmesan and lasagna. Like Italian food is like my go-to. I love Italian food, so that's one. But I really like Asian food too. So sushi is great. Trying to think of like a go-to.
You're naming so many different types of cuisine.
I know. I'm like, all right, I gotta choose one. I'm gonna choose Italian. How's that? Yeah. But I am Polish, so I have to choose. No, I have nothing in Italy.
Gotta go.
But Polska for any Poles out there. Yeah. So that Polish food is always great too. We don't find that as much as often. Oh, there is Kinga's in Denver that you should check out if you're looking for great Polish food.
What was the first concert that you went to?
I think it was Ludacris and Outkast.
Yes, that would be good.
It was awesome. Been to Outkast a few times, seen Ludacris a few times. I was raised in Florida, so it was Southern hip hop. That's what I grew up on in the 90s. So like 90s hip hop. I don't know if that's a question, but that's a good question to ask me. 90s hip hop is like so like that's my go-to. So I think I think that was my first one back in the day. It was good. It was in San Diego. That was in San Diego. It was a while. It was like I didn't go much as a kid. Okay, well, I could change that. So I'm just going to leave it at that one. But there were other ones when I was younger. I went to my father was in radio. So we used to go to a lot of concerts. And so like I saw like Three Dog Night and like the Monkees and like was actually met those guys too. Davy Jones and the Monkees. So like that's like going it back.
Yeah.
So like but I was younger back then. So I remember him to a certain extent, but I think Ludacris and Nelly is better in Outkast.
And that was your first.
Yeah. Well, I think
always memories.
That was my first like adult one. How's that? That was my first adult.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what my first actual one is, so we'll get a different question in there. I'm just kidding.
What's one destination that you haven't been to that you want to go to?
Poland.
Poland?
Yeah.
Nice.
I haven't been. That'd be great. Just to see where my ancestors are from. And so there's still a lot of like questions out there about like, did they change our last name? Because it was like hard to find people back in Poland in that day from ancestry. But yeah, so Poland would be my answer.
All right, so final question.
All right.
If you weren't in ads or marketing, what would you do?
Well, I've always wanted to work for a sports team. So I'm a huge sports guy.
Like as the athlete?
So like, well, yes. So one of the things about me is when I was growing up, I always wanted to be, my goal was to be the first triathlete, professional 3-sport athlete. That was like my thing growing up.
Yeah.
So that's a little tidbit, a little extra thing. But I would say working, so eventually back in the day, yes, playing for them, but now like a GM, like a general manager or like a personnel, a director of personnel would be very cool. Like what John Elway does for the Broncos, like that would be so fun. I do it in fantasy football, but that's a little different. But yeah, so I would say like working in a sports, like sports management, but not like cheesy sports management, like actually being like sports manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be my dream job.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jason, so much for doing this interview today. Now you're officially allowed to have a glass of whiskey here. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Subscribe below to watch more entrepreneur interviews. Thanks.
Bye now. Oh, bye too.